So we're going to look at section 5.4, the equation of a line, looking at some more word problems. Take another day to practice here. Looking at our first example, find the equation of the line that has the same x-intercept as y equals 1/2 x minus 5 and the same slope as 3x minus 4y plus 6 equals 0. So our questions are becoming a lot more complicated. We are always finding the equation of a line, but we're getting less and less information. So, first piece of information, I know the x-intercept is the same as this x-intercept. So my first step is to find the x-intercept. So remember, when we find the x-intercept, we're plugging in 0 for y and then solve for x. So that's my first step. 0 equals 1/2 x minus 5. Move the 5 over. 5 equals 1/2 x. Multiply both sides by 2. X equals 10. So I have an x-intercept of 10, 0. So I know that the line that I'm interested in passes through this point right here. Next piece of information that was given was that the line we are interested in has the same slope as this line here. So this equation is in standard form, 3x minus 4y plus 6 equals 0. So let's recall, when we have an equation in standard form, our slope is equal to negative a over b. There's my a, there's my b, there's my c. Remember? So negative a over b, that gives me negative 3 over negative 4, and that simplifies to positive 3 over 4. And if you forget this formula, you can always go ahead and rearrange this in slope-intercept form. You'll arrive at the exact same answer. So what we are interested in is the line that has this slope, 3 over 4, and passes through this point, this x-intercept, remember? So y equals mx plus b. Well, m is 3/4, and here's my x, here's my y. I'm going to plug those in so I can solve for b. Be careful, this is the x-intercept, not the y-intercept. So x is 10, y is 0. Plug those in, and I solve for b. So 0 equals 30 over 4 plus b. I can reduce this to 15 over 2. Move it over to the other side, and I get b equals negative 15 over 2. You could rewrite that in decimal form if you'd like, negative 7.5, but we like to see fractions because a lot of times they don't terminate, right? And so you can't express them as decimals, so just keep fractions in reduced form. So our slope was 3/4, our y-intercept is negative 15 over 2. Put that all together, and here's my equation. Y equals 3/4 x minus 15 over 2. Let's look at one more example, which is a word problem, and then you can continue with similar homework that you were already working on from yesterday. Okay, so example 2. A photographer charges $71 for 2 portraits purchased and $113 for 5 portraits purchased. The Smith family wants to know the sitting fee and the price per portrait. Let's see if we can help them out. Well, I know here's my equation, y equals mx plus b. This is what I need to solve for. M, my slope, would represent the price per portrait, and b would represent our sitting fee once we figure it out. What I do know is that we paid $71 for 2 portraits. So look at how I wrote out that ordered pair. I didn't write it out as 71, 2, I wrote it out as 271, because cost, y, 71, that's always y, our dependent variable. The number of portraits purchased, that's always x, our independent variable. Okay, remember, money is always y. Okay, time is always x. Those are standards in mathematics. Okay, second piece of information, $113 for 5 portraits. Write that out as an ordered pair, and it's 5, 113. So now I have these 2 ordered pairs, x1, y1, x2, y2. I can solve for slope, and we end up with a slope of 14. I'm going to plug this into my equation along with one of the 2 points. You get to pick whichever one you want. Slope is 14. X and y, you can either use 271 or 513. Both ordered pairs will give us the same answer for our y-intercept. So I plug in x, y, m is 14, and we solve for b, and we end up with b equals 43. So I put this all together, my slope and my y-intercept, and there's my equation. y equals 14x plus 43. Don't forget this was a word problem, so I should be ending with a statement. And there's my statement. It is going to cost $14 per portrait, and the sitting fee is $43. So you could turn to page 291, finish off these questions here on coming up with equations of lines. And again, if you have any problems, as always, reach out to me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Have a good day, students.